Do 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 do. Oh yeah, let's go. It's Friday, people. Let's get into it. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. Let's just get right into it. Hope you guys are having a freaking fantastic Friday. Yeah. Bye. Welcome to the revolution. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. Hope you guys are having a freaking fantastic day. Thank you guys for joining me as I just get my life situated. It's Friday. We're having a good time. We're enjoying our day. I hope you guys are having a great day. It's Friday. How was your week? My week was hectic and crazy. Shows why I was a couple minutes late tonight, which I don't like being a late to the late show kind of person. It's not my personality. Get in the chat. Tell me how you're feeling, how you doing. If you're drinking anything nice, like some ice cold water, some high quality H2O. But this is news stories. Late breaking news. 2 defendants are celebrating a acquittal of Whitner's kidnapping trial, saying it's the best birthday gift ever. And here's a little mainstream hashtag corporate media news and their thoughts about it.
We're learning more about the 2 men accused of pretending to be federal agents and giving financial favors to Secret Service officials. In court filings today, prosecutors said the defendants were not merely playing dress up, they were engaged in conduct that created a potential risk to national security. Here's CBS's Catherine Herridge.
Appearing in federal court, the bizarre case of Aryan Taherzadeh and Haider Ali took a serious national security turn. With confirmation from court records, they compromised U.S. Secret Service personnel with access to the White House. Now suspended, Secret Service personnel assigned to the First Lady, the White House, and the Vice President's residence.
This is like the weirdest story about these agents infiltrating our Secret Service. I don't understand what's going on about this story completely. I've been reading up about it and I still don't get it. There's like pictures of them taking pictures with like celebrities, which is weird. Bradley Cooper himself, Mr. Sniper Man himself. Let's keep listening to this story. It's so weird to me.
Arguing the suspects are flight risks, the government filed evidence photos of multiple weapons, tactical gear, surveillance equipment, and tools for fake IDs, all seized from their penthouse and 4 luxury D.C. apartments in a building popular with federal law enforcement. An expired passport for Ali showed recent travel to Iran and visas for Egypt and Pakistan, and he told at least one witness that he has ties to the intelligence agency of Pakistan. While the claim is under investigation, the government said it must be taken literally and seriously. Prosecutors say it was all part of a scheme to ingratiate themselves with members of the law enforcement community, giving officers gifts, including rent-free apartments and electronics.
There were a lot of red flags.
Tom O'Connor is a former FBI special agent.
Is this a Secret Service failure?
Anytime any federal law enforcement, local law enforcement, state law enforcement gets probed for intelligence value, that's a bad day.
After his arrest, Taherzadeh volunteered to investigators that Ali funded most of their day-to-day operation, and he didn't know the source of the funds.
And late today, a federal judge agreed to hold the 2 suspects until court reconvenes on Monday, saying he's never seen a case quite like this. Separately, the Secret Service has launched its own investigation into whether employees accepted bribes. Nora.
Which is this is like the weirdest story. Again, the FBI is slowly not doing their job that well. And so let's go back to this initial story that I started with, because I feel like that was a good T-ball into what I want to this news story, that 2 defendants celebrate acquittal of Whitner's kidnapping trial. Best birthday gift ever. 2 men are celebrating after West Michigan jury acquitted them on charges of conspiring to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. this story goes along with all the same stuff that you always hear about these white supremacists, evil people. They're everywhere. They're a huge problem. And in fact, we need to push an executive order right now regarding what's going on. This white supremacy is a huge issue in a country. But they were just acquitted. Brandon Sestura and Daniel Harris were arrested in October and charged along with 4 others for conspiring to kidnap Whitner over handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. The jury ruled that both men not guilty on the charge as they were cleared Harris on 3 related charges, including conspiracy to use a weapon of mass destruction, which is crazy, charged with carried a potential life sentence. Apparently, it goes from a life sentence to the best birthday ever, and he is acquitted. They were just acquitted because this is what happens when you encourage and entice people and basically force people into doing something they don't necessarily want to do, but maybe they're mentally unstable. Jury deliberations ended in a mistrial for 2 other defendants involved in the case, Adam Fox and Barry Croft, as the government failed to secure a single conviction. Not one conviction. The U.S. attorney for Western District of Michigan said, although we are disappointed the jury did not reach decision in our favor, we continue to respect the jury's trial system, whether or not the outcome. We thank the jury for their service. Then continue to say 2 defendants now await retrial, and for that reason, we have no further statement at this time. So 2 were acquitted and 2 faced a retrial. So you can't even come up with a good enough argument to put these people behind bars because there never was. This whole governmental interference of getting people to do things or encouraging people to carry out plans that are otherwise illegal should never be a thing the FBI does. And they're much more focused on stuff like this than actual real criminals. Which is sad. But they are free. They're free men. And 2 face another trial coming down for a mistrial. So we'll see. I'll continue to keep an eye out for that. But I just want you to imagine being encouraged and enticed by FBI agents to carry out a plot like this. What is it? What do you think this does to these kind of guys anyways, who already probably don't like the U.S. government for one, and now you give them even more of a reason to feel this way? It just continues to go down to the theory and the idea that the government is not your friend. The government is not somebody you should try to be like or somebody you should aspire to seek comfort and safety from, because they will turn their back on you at any minute they can to make them look better. Period. All right. Next story. Where is it? Where is he? I'll save that for later. Hope you guys are having a freaking fantastic day. Okay. There's a conference going on in Chicago, of all places, about disinformation, which later came out and had Brian Stelter coming out and was asked a question by a freshman that asked him a question and stumped the dude. Stumped Brian Stelter to his core, which you hate to see it. But here's the freshman right here, and this is like the main topic of tonight, the main idea of tonight that I want to get into is that conservatives, especially people on the right, need to stop calling the media the mainstream media. They are not mainstream. There's nothing mainstream about CNN, MSNBC, CBS, all these people. When you think mainstream, you think like Joe Rogan, maybe Tim Pool, you think Daily Wire, you think The Blaze. Like, these are bigger channels. Maybe Tucker Carlson has a huge drawing, but stop calling these channels that aren't the mainstream, that maybe like back in the day they were considered mainstream, but no longer are considered that to this day. So here's this conversation with Brian Stelter of all people. Ready? Here's this question. It's beautiful.
Hi, thank you for coming. My name is Christopher Phillips. I'm a first year at the college. My question's for Mr. Stelter. You've all spoken extensively about Fox News being a purveyor of disinformation, but CNN is right up there with them. They pushed the Russian collusion hoax. They pushed the Jussie Smollett hoax. They smeared Justice Kavanaugh as a rapist, and they also smeared Nick Sandmann as a white supremacist. And yes, they dismissed the Hunter Biden laptop affair as pure Russian disinformation. With mainstream corporate journalists becoming...
Which, I just need to pause right there. None of what that kid said is not true. It's all completely true. And it takes longer than 2 seconds to look up on Google how correct this kid is, which is just incredible. And so listen to his response, because anybody with a logical brain, anybody with like an average, IQ or an average that just has conversations with people on the daily, they were asked this question and they'll respond to it. Even if they're wrong, they might go, you know what, we got these wrong, or I still don't think this is the case. But listen to his response, because it'll tell you everything you need to know about how people in the corporate media views the average everyday person, especially an 18-year-old kid who has a dissenting or wrong think opinion in their eyes.
Information. With mainstream corporate journalists becoming little more than apologists and cheerleaders for the regime, is it time to finally declare that the canon of journalistic ethics is dead or no longer operative? All the mistakes of the mainstream media, and CNN in particular, seem to magically all go in one direction. Are we expected to believe that this is all just some sort of random coincidence, or is there something else behind it?
It's too bad. It's time for lunch.
I'm not going to answer your question, you freaking idiot. But here's his response. Immediately, he gets uncomfortable and he feels like... And okay, so somebody who studies body language and studies mental things, I know that he felt uncomfortable by that question because it's such an obvious question. And it's a question we've all been asking, and a question that we wish we could have the answers to. So the fact that this kid took the time out of his day to stand up and ask this question, the question that we all want to ask, but the fact that an 18-year-old kid decided to come up and do it is fantastic. And not only that, it made Brian Stelter so uncomfortable that he needed to make a joke immediately upon hearing the question. He couldn't even sit in the moment. He couldn't even think about it for a second. He had to make a joke because he didn't know what to do in that moment, so much so that he squirmed and he went, we're gonna it's too bad, it's time for lunch. But continue to listen to this response, because I think it tells you everything you need to know about how they view you and how they view what you remember, because this kid pulled stuff back, stuff that maybe he doesn't even remember, Brian, but we all know and remember, and the reason why their ratings continue to go and why CNN Plus continues to shrink. I saw that in the second month that the CNN Plus service was even available, it was 50% off. 50. And I don't think that service is going to the moon. And I wonder what Chris Wallace is going to do. Is he going to walk his little tail back to Fox News? I guess time will tell. But listen to Brian Stelter's freaking response here.
You have 30 seconds.
No, I mean,
Brian.
there's a clock that says 30 seconds. But I think my honest answer...
No, there's a clock that says 30 seconds, okay? So, will you just lay off my back, bro?
There's a clock that says 30 seconds, but I think my honest answer to you, and I'll come over and talk in more detail after this, is that I think you're describing a different channel than the one that I watch.
That's right. You are the one misunderstanding us. You didn't interpret us right. You are the one thinking wrong. We are doing everything right. So if you come up to this conclusion that these stories are false or misinformation itself or disinformation or fabricated or whatever, it's not our fault. It's your fault. This is what they do. They assume you'll never remember, and they assume that you don't care enough to do research and look up information. They know you won't because they assume that you're too busy with your life to look up this information. And this is why they are a problem. And this is why more people watch independent places like myself, not myself, but like Daily Wire, Blaze, Tim Pool, even Joe Rogan. People trust them more because if Joe Rogan is asked a question like this, you got this story wrong, you got this wrong, you got that wrong, should we trust you? He would actually explain it. Where Brian's first response is A, to laugh because he feels uncomfortable, and B, to say, we're not doing anything wrong. You're the one misinterpreting what's happening, even though this kid has a logical question.
But I understand that is a popular right-wing narrative about CNN. I think it's important when we talk about shared reality and democracy, all these networks, all these news outlets have to defend democracy. And when they screw up, admit it. But when Benjamin Hall, the Fox correspondent, was wounded in Ukraine, the news crews at CNN and the New York Times stopped what they were doing, and they tried to help.
What does that have to do with the question? Absolutely nothing. But we'll just continue.
They tried to help him get out of the country. They tried to find the dead crew members. That's what news outlets do. That's how they actually do work together, to your question about sharing those kinds of connections and trust. We don't talk about it enough, though. We don't share that reality about how that happens. And with regards to the regime, I think you mean the President Biden. The last time I spoke with a Biden aide, we yelled at each other. So that's the reality of the news.
And then last time you also spoke with Jen Psaki, you said, what can I do better to help you out? But we'll let that slide because you're not actually answering the question as you continue. Let's continue.
Business that people don't see, that people don't hear. They imagine that it's a situation that it simply is not. But I think your question, it speaks to the failure of journalism to show our work and show the reality of how our profession operates. We have a lot of work to do, I think.
Okay, just for reference, listen to the question one more time because that answer is absolutely ridiculous.
Hi, thank you for coming. My name is Christopher Phillips. I'm a first year at the college. My question is for Mr. Seltzer. You've all spoken extensively about Fox News being a purveyor of disinformation, but CNN is right up there with them. They pushed the Russian collusion hoax. They pushed the Jussie Smollett hoax. They smeared Justice Kavanaugh as a rapist, and they also smeared Nick Sandmann as a white supremacist. And yes, they dismissed the Hunter Biden laptop affair as pure Russian disinformation. With mainstream corporate journalists becoming little more than apologists and cheerleaders for the regime, is it time to finally declare that the canon of journalistic ethics is dead or no longer operative? All the mistakes of the mainstream media, and CNN in particular, seem to magically all go in one direction. Are we expected to believe that this is all just some sort of random coincidence, or is there something else behind it?
And again, his response is, you're just not understanding what's going on. We're not doing a good enough job of letting you know about the difficulties of being a journalist like himself. And then he goes on to this political spiel that has nothing to do with the question, which is like, of course, politics at its core, right? It's not actually being genuine. It's not actually having an honest conversation. It's just scapegoat, like skirting the issue and hearing what you think, instead of listening to what people are saying, responding in a way you think people want you to respond. And so his idea is that we're actually good. We're on the same team. We just need to do better at trying to figure this whole thing out together and stuff like that. And also, not only that, your response to what's going on in the news is your fault. It has nothing to do with us doing anything wrong. And this is why corporate media is not your friend. And you need to stop calling them mainstream, because the mainstream ideas are these ideas that are obvious and truthful, But these people can't be trusted whatsoever. They're actors, whatever have you. Yeah, I mean, we can go into very nefarious things. We can go on to just like evil things. We could talk about that all day, but they are not your friend. They are not to be trusted, and they will do whatever it takes in order for their agenda or continue to stay on top no matter what. They'll say whatever they need to say, do whatever they need to say. It's just like when Don Lemon was being interviewed in Ukraine, he's like, oh, Biden didn't say that. And then he just went on to say exactly what Biden said, and he said he didn't say it at the same time. Like, they don't care. They don't care how much you call them a liar, because they'll just keep repeating the same lie over and over again to the point where you just start to almost believe it. But I'm so proud of kids like this that are willing to stand up and say, you know what? This is my moment, and I'm going to hold your feet to the fire, because they need to know that even the younger generations, it's not all just a bunch of white old men or white old people angry and mad at the world that they're the ones that hate CNN. It's 18-year-old kids in Chicago going, you know what? I might not be a Trump supporter, I might not be conservative, whatever, I don't care. But I'm willing to engage in truth, so much so that I'm disappointed in the fact that our journalistic integrity seems to be gone, or that it never was there and it's coming to the light because of social media, because of what happened during COVID. I'm not one of those people who are just like assume that, back in my day, journalistic integrity meant something. I don't know. I think because of social media, they're held to a higher standard than they've ever been held before, and they can't get away with stuff like they used to, because the internet is undefeated. You can't just go around saying stuff, especially on nationally television shows where you get paid millions of dollars to speak the truth and provide real information for people, and you're not just a content creator. You're not just speaking on opinion pieces, but you're trying to give the truth to the world. And so you have 18-year-old kids calling him out, and instead of him having a moment of honesty, he flips it on him. And what's the best part of it is that his show on CNN is called Reliable Sources. And this is why people don't trust corporate media anymore, because they are no longer a reliable source. In fact, if I was using them to create a paper, I would trust Wikipedia far greater than anything on any of these news websites ever. Let me know your thoughts on this, because we need to stop calling them mainstream. They're not. They're corporate. They're nefarious, whatever words you want to use, but they're not your friend, and they're not to be trusted. They're like, use them to look up information because they have so much money to spread journalists all over the world. So that's the best way to get information. But then fact check them. Look at other stories. Use other sources. Don't just use one source. Use more than one source. I try to use multiple sources on every single news story I do, because I just don't trust any source enough to hold them, be like, you know what? Why would they lie to me? Well, maybe to grift and make money, because these are money-making businesses after all. They want your clicks. They want your eyes. That's why they speak in such crazy emotional language when they talk to you. That's why they leave you on cliffhangers right before a commercial, so you stay engaged and locked in with them. This is what they want. They care more about your eyes than giving you the facts. And that's why if you look at news media, the one at the top of the very list is the one, A, they hate the most, and B, seems like the most honest conversation that happens in news media. And you tell me who that is. Because that guy gets called every name in the book because he's the best. But also because he's like Joe Rogan in many ways. It seems more genuine than anything you can find on corporate media websites. Let me know your thoughts on that. But I'm just so proud of this generation to actually hold these people accountable, and the world needs to see what they show. And I think this is the best part of it too, is that then this video came out a little later. Let me find it. That's what happens when you do a new show. So that clip started circulating all over the internet, and they started to get pretty angry about it. And so they went on and they had this conversation shortly after, which is just hilarious.
Talk about A to C. They now think that if only the media had told us about the laptop at the time, as the kid yesterday was suggesting, which I don't buy his, theory, that
You don't buy it's a theory. Oh, what up, DEF CON? Let's face it, 5 to 6 companies own every news outlet. They work for their customers. The companies that buy their ad time. America is one of the 2 countries that allows Big Pharma to have exactly commercials on TV. They're all bought. Exactly. Of course they're all bought. That's why you have, there are even like times on Fox News where people have been talking about like Soros and stuff like that or any of their people in charge, and they quickly shut down that conversation. That's why people like trust people like myself. That's why people trust like the Daily Wire. They're just like, oh, a corporation doesn't believe what we believe. Screw you. We'll make our own company. And that's where, and I think that's a good thing. That's what it should be. I want to turn on my news agent, my news site, and feel like I can trust them. Feel like they're not bought out. And I always hear pushback. It's like, oh, well, then maybe the government should. No. Maybe we should subsidize by the government. Absolutely not. It's like to each of that is like you can have corporations or the government, whatever person's paying your paychecks. Whereas me, if I ever get big, I will be supported by you, not based on like what you tell me what to say, just because you trust what I put out forward for you, not that I'm just like trying to manipulate you to take your money and then make my commercials look well. I mean, even if somebody was like to sponsor my show ever, I would never just talk good, speak up for them because they are sponsoring my show. If they're a terrible company, who cares? I'm not going to just like, you can't buy me. I'd rather live on standing than live on my knees, you know? But I think this clip right here of them getting mad about that clip circulating about making Brian Stelter look like a complete fool, they started to get really mad. And his response about Hunter Biden's laptop is just a joke.
Talk about A to C. They now think that if only the media had told us about the laptop at the time, as the kid yesterday was suggesting, which I don't buy his, theory.
Why you don't buy the Hunter Biden laptop as a theory? What does that even mean? The theory that it's bad, or like it's so vague, and he's purposely being as vague as possible so you don't have to like hold him accountable. This is what they do anyways in corporate media. It's like as vague as I could just use emotional language and be as vague as possible for you to create an emotional response and be going, yeah, that kid was stupid yesterday. And you're like, well, why was he stupid? I'm not totally sure, but I don't know. This guy has a beard.
They was suggesting, which I don't buy his, theory, that Trump would have won. But for the censoring of the New York Post.
Yeah, why would that have anything to do with people voting for Biden or Trump? Why would any of the information on Hunter? I think a lot of it would have to do with it. And the fact that you say you just know for sure that wouldn't change the election, like you just know for sure. Maybe not, but maybe absolutely. And an honest journalist would say, I'm not sure, but it's definitely not good publicity, and it doesn't make him look good. And also, who's the big guy?
Trump would have won. And I think it's a preposterous counterfactual, but it's also it's impossible for me to refute. In the same way, I cannot refute.
Right. So you're doing it right now, though. You're refuting it without refuting it right now. Oh, God, this is so disingenuous.
This bottle is keeping all the polar bears away, right? Do you see any polar bears? Right? I cannot.
That is like the dumbest comparison I've ever heard in my life. A bottle keeping polar bears away versus a laptop that has terrible information on that could link Biden to Ukraine, China, Russia, like all these places, and a son using Biden's name and Biden's sign off. I think like to say like that doesn't have, what a stupid comparison. But this is what they think of you, They think you're an idiot. and they say, like, this is such an idiot comparison. This is such an idiotic question. And look, it's just like a bottle. It's not going to keep away polar bears.
Cannot prove the negative. And this is just it has now become.
Can we lock the doors just in case?
It has been wrapped into a much larger narrative, and so when they hear disinformation, they say, "Oh, you mean like Hunter laptop, which actually turned out to be true?"
Exactly. And again, journalism today is, instead of admitting fault, admitting that there's a problem, admitting that you're wrong, it's to double down and push back harder. All right? And then here's another clip from the same conversation. Look, they're more concerned about how the public views them at the moment because an 18-year-old kid came on their stage and they're preposterous pretend of authorities of information. They're the bastions of our society. They're the preachers of our land. They're the truth tellers of the world. And yet this 18-year-old smug kid came up and brought up information that is all completely true. And we're just going to try to take it down in the best way we can by making them sound stupid, even though it makes them sound even smarter. If anything, they've done nothing but make themselves look worse, which I love. I want them to keep doubling down. I like this new liberal leftism where they just, when they realize they're doing something dumb, instead of pulling back, they just double down now. I'm for it. Keep doubling down. Keep making yourself look worse, because there are people out there with some logic that are hopefully changing. But I don't have hope for everyone. I mean, after all, they voted for Joe Biden. All right, so here's another clip from the same conference. They're very mad at it.
I think one darkly humorous but inevitable measurement of our success is that our disinformation conference has been the subject of disinformation campaigns on social media already.
That's right. Being held to the fire, having your feet held to the fire, being held accountable for the things you've said in the past, and somebody just asking you a simple question as to, hey, you've got this wrong, you got that wrong, and you got this wrong. Why should we believe you anymore? Is it dead? And his response is, campaigns of disinformation. That's right. It's not that people are fact-checking you or holding you accountable. It's that there's these swabs of Trump supporter, white supremacists, people on the far right, probably pro-Putin people, anti-mask, anti-vax, whatever words you want to throw at them, when you throw them all in a box, transphobe, homophobe, racist, God, misogynist. They are the problem, not us. Not us. Not us corporate media elitists that are speaking on stage. Again, just listen to the way they think of you. Again, this is all from a question of an 18-year-old kid, which I love.
I think one darkly humorous but inevitable measurement of our success is that our disinformation conference has been the subject of disinformation campaigns on social media already. So, yeah. Congratulate yourselves for that. That's
people aren't even
we'll
clapping.
Study that at next year's disinformation.
Yeah, we'll study it and make sure we'll vet the people that walk into this door. We don't want these people coming up here with obvious questions for some of our more fragile guests like Brian Stelter. I'm so thankful for this kid because it produces clips like this, which is just fantastic. I don't trust these people, and you shouldn't either, because when they are called, look, if you're caught in a lie, if you're caught misleading people, if you're caught purposely not sharing information, purposely looking over things in life, any human being like you, I'm just talking to you in general. if you show up to your job and you constantly tell white lies, you show up to your wife, your husband, your friend, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mom, your dad, and you constantly are lying all the time. And when somebody calls you out in that lie, if your position is to double down and then to mock them, you're a narcissist, psychotic individual. And this is evil to its core. And some people might say that might be a response of insecurities. I don't think the corporate media feels insecure whatsoever. I think they know exactly what they're doing, and they've been playing this game for so long, and they assume, I think they forget that the internet's a thing because they're not mainstream. They have no idea what's going on. They don't have their finger on the pulse whatsoever. But I love the fact that people are calling these people out. I just moved from Chicago not too long ago. And Chicago is one of the most liberal, craziest, poorly run, most corrupt cities I've ever lived in my entire life. The day I got to Chicago, a guy said, "Welcome to Crook County," and laughed about it. And I went, "What? What's that about?" And I was like too young to look into it. And I started looking into it and I was like, oh my God. But this is coming out of Chicago. So I think there's hope in the world for what corporations and news media has turned to. If anything, we'll just continue to laugh at them. But let me know your thoughts on this, because my opinion isn't the bee's knees. And all that stuff. DEF CON, I hope you're having a good night, man. There's some videos I wanted to show. But I don't trust them at all anymore, and I don't think you should either, even on this lovely Friday night. Speaking of corporate media, here's another reason why you shouldn't trust corporate media. Quit calling them mainstream. They're not mainstream. Fox News doctored clips of Obama's visit to the White House to make him seem like Biden was lost. Conservative media couldn't resist deceptively editing the former president to make him seem like the current president is unfit for... No. We played regular clips of him walking around, grabbing Obama's shoulder, and Obama completely ignoring him. Also walking around while Obama was in the midst of a huge crowd of people and he had no one around him. No, none of those clips were deceptively edited, but this is what they assume. They assume he won't look it up, and the people that read Rolling Stone magazine will just take them for what it is. Remember when Rolling Stone magazine did that news article about people dying in Oklahoma's hospitals due to ivermectin overdoses and bullet wound victims weren't being seen? Hold these people accountable, please. Please try to remember. Remember. Oh. It's just so good to see their feet being held accountable. Okay. DEF CON. I don't know if you covered this before. Did you see the governor, Isaac, in Nevada get confronted at a restaurant? The video is a month old, I think. No. No. Look that up. Governor... Isolac. Gotta hold these politicians accountable. Yeah, we do. I'm sure it's the top video, right? Where is it? I would say restaurant. It was in a restaurant? Sisolak restaurant. Oh. Patriot takes. I don't think I follow that person, but I should now. All right. Shout out to DEF CON for showing this. Those of you who are watching a video, not live. Governor Sisolak of Nevada getting confronted at a restaurant. It's a month old, but I'm here for it.
You Steve Sisolak, right? That's amazing. I can't tell you what a piece of fucking shit you are.
Sorry to hear that.
You New World Order traitor piece of shit bastard. You're in here without security? Woo!
I want to second that.
Yeah, you piece of shit. I'm surprised that you have the balls to be out here in public, punk. Out here without a cop, out here without security? Woo! You got balls on you, boy. I'm not moving.
Wait till we find all the money that flowed his way from.
Oh, man.
Yeah, hiding the hydroxychloroquine.
Oh, you in trouble. Let's go. Yeah, you better get the fuck out of here, Sisalak.
Probably a good idea to go somewhere else.
Where's your security at, huh? Huh? Where's your... don't touch me, lady. Where's your security at? Huh? You want to sell us all down the river? You working for China, piece of shit? You fucking traitors. We should string you up by lampposts right now, pussy boy.
Do you know what they do to traitors?
Jeez.
They hang them. That's right, Patriot.
I think it's awesome.
You running into a Patriot now, huh? Huh? Where's your security at?
This is a little over the top for me, but crazy.
I heard about you banging that little girl and then wrecking your car. Does she know about that? Huh, Steve? Mr. Sisalak? You craziness, China working, cocksucking motherfucker.
Oh my
Where's your security at, bitch? Woo! You lucky I'm a law-abiding citizen. Woo! Because your daughter's with you, I'm going to leave you alone now.
Oh my God, that's freaking nuts. Oh my God.
Patriot shit.
Patriot shit. I feel like I was about to watch Jesse Smollett or something. This is MAGA country at the end. That was nuts. I don't necessarily say that's how you should confront someone, but you know, people are mad. And you gotta hold these, you know, conservative politicians, pretend politicians, pretend Republicans to the fire. Incredible. All of them. That is crazy. That was like Biden walking around. I almost felt sorry for him in that moment. Almost. But, you know, these people get away with murder. And especially Republicans have always been like so chill towards other Republican candidates, and they get away with whatever they want. They get away with pretending they're super conservative, super right wing, you know. So they're just being held accountable. So this happened today. Happy birthing person, new SCOTUS appointee day happened as we remember the clip of Ketanji Brown Jackson saying that she can't define a woman because she's not a biologist. But then we had this clip today, which is so weird because it doesn't make any sense.
It has taken 232 years and 115 prior appointments for a black woman to be selected to serve on the Supreme Court of the United States.
Wait, what? A what woman? Wait. I mean, a black what?
It has taken 232 years and 115 prior appointments for a black woman.
How can you use a word that you don't know the definition of? This isn't called out enough. You can no longer use a word that you can't define. Because then there's no context. Like you don't understand, like the word is meaningless then. So the fact that she's like celebrating this, saying like this is a historic moment for black women, like you are on record saying I'm not a biologist. These people just assume you'll never pay attention. You won't hold them accountable. You won't remember what they said, and now they're taking full ownership. Is like I went around everywhere on the leftist websites of saying historic moment for black women when they were so mad about the fact that she was being pushed to define what a woman is, and which is an important question in today's world. Which again, it shows you again that the corporate media isn't mainstream. Like this is on everyone's mind of like people are being pushed in a corner to define what gender and sex is, and if you shouldn't even use gender, if it should just be sex, or if gender is fluid, or if it's not fluid, or if it's objective, or if it's subjective. Like, these are all things that we need to have conversations about. So the fact that she's not able to define a word but then uses a word as a moment of celebration makes absolutely no sense. And I'm so sorry. I was being so rude, saying horrible things about her. Right? I think I just did what Biden said today.
I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I knew the person I nominated will be put through a painful and difficult confirmation process.
So painful, so difficult.
But I have to tell you, what Judge Jackson was put through was well beyond that. There was verbal abuse, the anger.
Yes.
The constant interruptions.
Oh,
the most vile, baseless assertions and accusations.
So vile.
In the face of it all,
yes,
Judge Jackson showed the incredible character and integrity she possesses.
Incredible. So many vile accusations. I remember the Republicans took like a false story and flew that person across the country and made her bring out old diaries, old yearbooks from high school to present, to show her character. I remember the Republicans doing all that, which is just so evil of them. No, none of that happened. But again, they don't care about the truth. If the Republicans put up any sort of fight, it becomes an atomic bomb. It becomes 9/11. It becomes another horrible event. It's not just she was asked questions and the Republicans don't like her. They're racist. They're horrible human beings. You fill in the blank. They don't care if you don't, like, they expect you not to look up the information. They expect you to have the same feeling of Republicans bad, Republicans racist. Now continue to vote accordingly. Which is crazy. DEFCON, can you define a woman? You better say no. You better say no. Let me just check the live news, see if anything exciting is happening. Maddie Rogers. No thanks. All right, I'm done looking at the news. This meme is not funny. It's not funny. Can we talk about this too? I'm not a biologist, brother. Me neither, man. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm a male. I can't. I cannot. I don't know if you saw this post. They're so mad about Elon Musk. It's hilarious. And the fact that somebody he's not, I wouldn't even say he's conservative or right wing. They just put him in that category because he's a counter puncher. You know, he just pushes back on the narrative. He pushes people back in the corner, and they would think they would celebrate him and all his accomplishments of the electric cars and stuff like that. But the Washington Post puts out this article saying Musk appointment on Twitter's board shows that we need regulation on social media platforms to prevent rich people from controlling our channels of communications. It's so ridiculous. How dare somebody with a dissenting opinion or wrong thing come in and be in charge of our social media platforms, our bubbles, our little boxes that we enjoy and feel safe in. How dare somebody come in and try to push things like freedom of speech? Ugh. He needs to be regulated. We can't have these oligarchs coming in and taking over our platforms. We only like our oligarchs we like Soros and Zuckerberg and I'm blanking on Jeff Bezos. We like those oligarchs, not this one. He needs to be stopped. In fact, here's a little story from Axios as they're trying to present a case against Elon for buying right now. They're just so hyped. It's just like Russian collusion all over again. The gaslighting is insane. Rich people already control the channels of communication. Exactly. They're already in control. Google, Twitter, Facebook, CNN, MSNBC, NBC, CBS, these are all the same. So if anything, it's the opposite. But here's Axios in presenting the case. And of course, she's like, look at how pumped she looks. She's like, we're going to get him, guys. He's not going to be able to buy our platform and come into our space. He needs to be stopped at all costs.
Elon Musk wants to change Twitter so bad that he might have.
Exactly. And we don't want him to because it's our bubble and we like bubbles. They're fun. They're childish. They make me feel safe. They're not harsh. They're not hateful.
Elon Musk wants to change Twitter so bad that he might have broken the law. This dude bro ran up a $3 billion bill buying 9.2% of Twitter.
This is a serious news agency calling Elon a dude bro. God. We're Axios. We should be taken seriously. We're not just your average YouTuber or content creator. We're Axios.
Ran up a $3 billion bill buying 9.2% of Twitter. And even though that's considered a passive stake, it makes him the platform's biggest shareholder. But that's not the real story here. Under the law, if you make a purchase like this, you have to publicly report it within 10 days.
Got
For
him.
Musk, that would have been March 24th. One tiny baby problem, he didn't file it on time, potentially breaking the law. And in the time he...
And we're going to get him. And I love a whole story based on... As she said, what did she say here?
I'm potentially breaking the law.
Potentially breaking the law. Now we have a narrative. Now we have a story that needs to be spread. Like peanut butter. Oliver made peanut butter and honey sandwich. Nom, 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 nom.
File it on time, potentially breaking the law. And in the time he should have filed it, he was doing all sorts of Twitter activity. Even if the government finds that he did break the law, that fine is only $200,000. He makes 3 times that in 1 hour. But here's the thing, if you're dreading or hoping for a Doge-filled Twitter run by CEO Musk, it's probably off the table. Because Twitter also announced that he's joining the board, which prevents him from owning more than 14% of the company, cutting off his ability to take it over himself. But he's like flexing his cultural machismo influence, and it smells familiar.
Oh my God. She just compared Elon Musk to Donald Trump. God, this is what happens when you have no argument for the other side, or you can't just be honest. You just need to put people in their little boxes, and you're like, God, this guy reminds me of, I'll just put him in the Trump box. He's basically a Trump supporter.
Loyal follower of the Trump playbook. I'm the victim. I don't want to pay taxes. I'm being censored. I don't like the way that they treat me. It's the...
I'm sorry, what?
Becoming a loyal follower of the Trump playbook. I'm the victim. I don't want to pay taxes. I'm being censored. I don't like the way that they treat me.
Whoa. I feel like I could do an entire segment on that right there. What? I need to hear that one more time. That was insane.
Elon is becoming a loyal...
I don't want to be censored is something from Trump playbook. I don't want to pay taxes is something. I don't want to be canceled. This person is so pompous and arrogant because the way she views the world isn't censored, and she believes she's right think and in the right mindset and is a useful idiot, that she just feels comfortable enough to look at you and what you bring to the table and make fun of you for being canceled or being fired from your job for going out and voting for something or going to a rally or something like that. She laughs and mocks you. That's what these people in corporate media think of you. And you should remember that always, because that is like such an insane statement in itself that she has the cojones to even say that.
Loyal follower of the Trump playbook. I'm the victim. I don't want to pay taxes. I'm being censored. I don't like the way that they treat me. It's the publicly hate on political and tech insiders while secretly wanting to become one of them pipeline. But if you're dreading or hoping for Elon to take over the White House, that's off the table too. He's from South Africa.
Well, that's a relief.
Oh my God. Who's this person? Grace Weinstein. Any relation? God, what a horrible, terrible human being. Freaking so rude. And she's the type of person that would, like, if someone calls her out on her bullcrap like that she would immediately play the same exact card she's just making fun of other people for playing. The victim card. Cancel culture. They're coming after me, these Trump supporters, these Trump peons. That's insane. But they hate the fact that Elon is even part of Twitter. And he hasn't even done anything. I don't even know if he's going to change the world. I don't know if he's bringing Trump back. I don't know if he's actually bringing in censorship, like making censorship go away. His first thing is, let's get an edit button. Really? That's your first move? Because we all know what the first move is. You bring Trump back, that changes everything. Let me know your thoughts on how insane this person is. I don't know. What do you think, DEFCON? What do you think about her? God, that's like, I mean, seriously, that's like the most insane like segment I've ever seen. This is so rude, so arrogant. And she wonders why like people are angry on the right, you know? Of what they think of her. Just I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Speaking of not being able to define what a woman is on this happy birthing person SCOTUS nominee day, Kamala Harris apparently got her biology degree because she came out and said this.
The first black woman to the United States Supreme Court. The first black woman to the United States Supreme Court.
How does she know what that is? Look at Biden in the back.
Supreme Court.
Yeah, whoa! They're doing everything they can to make this seem like this historical and magical appointment that takes away from all the disaster that is their administration. They did Obama. They brought in Obama. Do you remember? It gave you some member berries. They're like, remember Obama? Remember how amazing Obama is? Remember? And now they're like, look, we also appointed a black female a black birthing person SCOTUS into the Supreme Court. Aren't we doing an amazing job, guys? Keep voting Democrat. We're helping everything out. We're making everything better. I'm glad you threw up, DEFCON, because I freaking want to throw up. Just thinking about how stupid that freaking Axios thing was. It just made me so mad. And again, she comes out and says she is a birthing person. Oh my God. I don't even know if I want to. Okay. I don't know if you guys, DEFCON, I don't know if you saw this clip being passed around. Here's the View. My kryptonite. Stating a case that you're not going to look up any information on and you're just assuming it's fact no matter what. It's just a baseless argument of hypotheticals that create an entire narrative, which is so sad to see. But here's our transportation secretary going on The View. I don't remember when that happened in any other presidency, but you know, Pete wanted to be a president, so you have to put up with him talking and going on The View and doing his little stand-up speeches and stuff like that and being in the front of the camera everywhere and being on CNBC talking about trans rights, even though he's our transportation secretary and blah.
On in my state of Florida, with the so-called "Don't Say Gay" law now, which he says will kill kids. Do you agree? And you know, as a public,
which he says will kill kids.
Say gay law now, which he says will kill kids. Do you agree? And, you know,
how will a law just automatically kill people like that? You're not allowed to talk about sexuality in kindergarten to third grade. Also, you're not allowed to talk about straight sex and, you know, straight individuals and the opposite sex and what that entails. You're just not allowed to talk about it, period. That's not killing any straight people. But here we are. It automatically means you're going to kill people by pushing this bill forward.
As a politician, because this strikes you as, you know, your husband is a teacher.
Yeah.
You are obviously LGBTQ yourself, and you are now a parent.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about this?
He's right. And
you're an authority.
I think every law ought to be judged for the effect it's going to have on real people in real life. And I get the political reasons why they're doing this. By the way, some of those...
It's not political. I mean, in some degree, yes, it's political. But it's also, in some degree, parents just caring about what their kids learn in public education and don't want 19-year-old, 20-year-old teachers with an agenda pushing down information down their kids' throats without their knowledge and then going behind their parents' back and having secret pronouns behind their parents' back or secret names and stuff like that. They want transparency, and that's scary. It's just like censorship. It's like they don't want people to have honest conversations anymore. They want to censor it, and if you have a dissenting opinion, your channel's gone.
And I get the political reasons why they're doing this. By the way, some of those political reasons is they don't have a plan on anything else, right? I mean, they don't have a plan on dealing with inflation or dealing with gas prices. Or
What? What is DeSantis going to do about inflation or gas prices that you should be doing, Pete? Transportation guy? You're the transportation guy, Pete. Transport.
We're dealing with the issues of
We
the
can't
day.
get home insurance in Florida. We're banning all sorts of conversations.
Right, 'cause it's easier, right? It's easier politically, but this is going to hurt people. I mean, I think about it. Chaston and I talk about this a lot. If our kids were in a classroom in a state where one of these laws passed, you know, what if they come in on a Monday morning and, you know, sitting around talking about, you know, in first grade, how was your weekend? And they want to say, oh, I just had the best time over the weekend with my dads. We got ice cream. And the teacher has to say, oh, no, we can't talk about that here. Or is the teacher supposed to, you know.
Or you could just say, yeah, cool. Also, let's open up our books and talk about social studies today. Or let's dive into the math problems today. Teachers are so concerned in today's culture about being their buddy, being their friend, and not just being a good role model or a good leader in their life. They're more concerned about being cool and having the cool TikToks.
No, a high school teacher is supposed to go through every book and make sure that if there's ever a picture of married couples in those books, they tear out any page where it isn't a straight couple. Is that what we're asking teachers to do? But again, they're doing this because they don't have answers on the issues that people actually are asking about. So I'm focused on just trying to deliver. They can keep trying to go out there and ban books. We're going out there figuring out how to build bridges, literally, in every part of the country.
Can you just take a...
What? You're trying to ban books and I'm trying to build bridges. Because I'm the transportation guy, remember? We're here to build bridges around the country.
A little time to give a message to LGBTQ students who, like you when you were in school, who might be feeling marginalized and attacked and targeted right now?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is you're not alone.
And it's not about you. You're here to learn. And when did school become all about sexuality? Oh, when you guys pushed it constantly and made it all about that instead of about education. In fact, you call education racist and non-equitable, and honors and AP classes need to be taken away, and we need to get rid of grades, and we need to teach real social studies, and white people need to be held accountable to their white fragility. And you made it all about everything other than the subjects that need to be talked about. You guys did that. And then the right is finally responding to it due to the pandemic, because the parents finally opened their eyes and started to care about what their kids were actually learning in school, which is a good thing. And they want to be involved. And now that they want to be involved, you don't like that response because they worry about what their kids learn. And they're not just a 20-year-old kid, 25-year-old teacher trying to push down their ideology into another smaller kid because the smaller kid hasn't developed psychologically and philosophically enough in his head to be able to defend his own position, and instead just takes things for face value.
Look, it is hard to be, especially like a middle schooler.
Exactly.
Even if you're not LGBTQ plus, right? It's hard.
Yeah.
Right.
And you throw that in, and you think about what these kids are up against, and there are enough people.
I mean, it's like these people are the ones that are constantly like, what's your identity? What's your sexuality? What do you define yourself? What do you? And you're making these kids unstable. Instead of letting them figure it out, letting them mess up, letting them be like, I want to be this today and I want to be that tomorrow and I'm trying to figure out who I am. That's what being a kid is. You wake up one day, I want to be a quarterback, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a cop, I want to be not a politician. I want to be a Twitch streamer is what every middle school kid told me when I was a middle school teacher. They all want to be Twitch streamers. Let the kids go through their motions. Of course, not every kid that told me he's going to be a Twitch streamer is probably going to make it as a Twitch streamer. But it's important to allow kids to have these ideas and allow them to play it through. I just can't imagine if the things I was saying in middle school, if my parents took that at face value and then allowed me to do whatever I want to my body or mind and just said, okay, we're going with this, Derek. And then I had to reap the repercussions of that later in my life because I made some decision when I was 12, or especially what this law is, kindergarten to third grade. I can't imagine. I don't remember anything. I don't even remember kindergarten. I don't remember first grade. I barely remember second grade. I barely remember third grade. So this idea that we not only do we need to encourage kids to figure out who they are that young, but then also whatever decision they make about themselves, that they need to be that person the rest of their lives is insane.
Might be bullies in your school. You don't need bullies in the state house added to that, right? And so the biggest thing I want these kids to know is not only you're not alone, you got a lot of people who have your back, including people like me and Chasten, and including millions of people across America. And I would add, including the President of the United States.
Oh, you know what? We're lucky to have you in this country, is what I want to say to you. And thank you for your service, really. I appreciate it.
This conversation is not an honest conversation. It's funny that this is the same people that will say, I can't define a woman because I'm not a biologist, but these people are happy to have this conversation even though none of them are psychologists. None of them are trained in brain development and childhood development whatsoever, but they're happy to tell you you're an idiot or you're a bigot or you're insane for even having a nuanced conversation about this. This isn't an anti-trans segment by me. If you're 18 and you're you're an adult, I don't give a crap what you do to yourself. You can deform you can put horns on your head. You can put tails off your butt. You can cut your tongue in half and become a lizard person like I've seen. You can manipulate your eyes. I don't care what you do, but this idea that we need to just encourage kids to not only figure out who they are, but push it and encourage it instead of just allowing them to figure out life. And not only that, pushing medications down their throat. I'm on the personality of this idea too that even ADHD medicine is pushed too regularly to kids who just need to go and get some freaking exercise and move around a bit. And we want to push hormones down these people's throats, and we don't even know the repercussions of what this will mean for them in their 30s and 40s. This is insane. These people aren't autonomous enough to even drink alcohol. They're not legally allowed to do that. And yet we're it's the same argument of allowing a fifth grader to go out and get a boob job. It's so it's wrong. DEFCON says no one is allowed to think for themselves. We have to trust the experts. Exactly. And that's another thing. Not only that, these experts are people that are part of like organizations, and they're not only most of these experts are encouraged to have this same opinion. And if they have a different opinion, some of them are worried that their license can be taken away from them. So they're forced to even encourage this idea in that field of harm reduction and just encouraging that. It's insane. It's not healthy. This is not a healthy move for children. These people don't have kids probably, and B, have never worked with kids. They just want to affirm kids all the time. You don't affirm kids all the time. They need boundaries. And again, this is, if you're 18, do whatever the frick you want to your body. I don't give a crap. Justin, I'm not here to discuss my transition. You better be. God. Let me know your thoughts on this. Like, everyone here needs to discuss their transition. Everyone seriously though, put your pronouns in my chat box, or else I won't know how to just identify you. I'll put mine in the chat box. They, them. I just put my pronouns in the chat box. I encourage you to do the same. What other clip did I want to show? Oh yeah, this is like a crazy. Man, I barely got into any of the clips I wanted to do tonight. So far, I've been going off. This has been a fun Friday. A kid can choose their gender, but an adult can't choose whether or not to inject with a foreign. Exactly. My body, my choice. Well, not really. In fact, I go to my teachers to. My pronoun is man with a pecker. Put your size in the chat box. Speaking of pervs, inject. Yeah, we have rules for adults of what they're allowed to put in their bodies. You know, you got to be 18 to smoke. You got to be 18 to smoke weed. You got to be, in some states, you got to be 21 to drink alcohol. But then we're like, yeah, these kids who aren't fully developed yet, do whatever you want. Steven Seagal and Vin Diesel. Those are two of the best actors of all time. In fact, I want to see a movie with Steven Seagal, Vin Diesel, and John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. Could you imagine that movie? Steven Seagal, Vin Diesel, Nicolas Cage, and John Travolta. And maybe Keanu Reeves thrown on top. It'll be just like an acting of the greatest acting that is available for humankind consumption. Oh, man. We're just having fun. It's Friday. God. I appreciate you guys for joining me. I always wonder if, like, when I started doing live streams on Friday, how many people would show up because it's Friday. But it's good to have people that like to chill on Fridays too. I don't know. Sometimes when I get done with the whole week, I'm just like exhausted. I just want to hang out just for a minute and then let my Saturday go off. I don't know if you saw this Perv Buster thing by Jesse Water. I'm not a big Jesse Water fan. I think he's like an arrogant prick, but that's just me.
New York eliminated cash bail a couple years ago. Guess what? Crime surged. The move gave criminals a green light to commit even more crime. And we have good news. This is why we wanted to tell you this. The laws are changing back. The New York governor, Kathy Hochul, a Democrat, put a plan in motion with this new deal. She's going to strengthen the bail situation and make it harder for repeat offenders to get released. This is a good thing. Judges now have more discretion, and that's because of us and because the people have spoken very loudly, and we are happy this is happening. New York City's subway is a mess. It's dirty. It's kind of gross.
Can you imagine if, as a teacher, sending your kid home with a homework assignment to discuss your dad's election and evacuate? Yeah. I can.
Pretty dangerous. Subway crime's up almost 70% from last year. And it's not just drug crimes or robberies. People are being pushed onto the tracks. And predators...
Kathy Hochul, my governor, my queen. Oh, are you in New York? She's incredible. The first birthing person to be elected, pushed into governor.
Are assaulting women. But one group of women are actually doing something about it. They're called the Perv Busters.
Could you imagine this group of women protecting for you? Where are the Perv Busters when I need them? Oh, she is the worst. And she's just like Eric Adams. She's like a pretend I'm different. And you're like, you're exactly the same, bro.
And they're cleaning up the subways one creep at a time. The ladies of the Perv Busters are here with us now. Jen Ray, their leader, and Nancy Sliwa.
Come on. Their name is the Perv Busters. I mean, what's up, girls? You here to bust me or what? Bust it. Oh, God, it's so freaking weirdest. They're not even, like, butchy enough for me. I wanted like big, broad shoulders, and I mean,
the lawyer on patrol. All right,
I want to be manhandled,
Nope.
baby.
You're the lawyer, and you're the muscle.
I'm definitely the muscle.
You're the muscle.
I'm gonna spit my freaking beer out everywhere. I'm definitely the muscle.
I'm the women. Part of the women of the patrol, right?
What kind of
what
problem have you encountered, and how have you tried to fix it?
Well, and Nancy can chime in, of course. I mean, I think part of what we're trying to do is just be very aware of what's happening.
Oh no, she closed her eyes when she started to talk. I freaking hate when people do that. I think what we're trying to do here, Jesse. Gosh, it's the freaking worst. The whole world has gone crazy. Nobody gives a shit about nature's. I know. Nobody cares about anything. The whole world is so nihilistic. It's just like, who cares? It's all for nothing. But I'm glad you guys are here with me, hanging out. We're making a difference in our own communities by hanging out together. I don't know. We're doing stuff. We're living the dream. We're living the real life right now.
Happening in the subway. Spread information to people. You know, we have our flyers. We talk to people all the time, men and women, and basically keep people alert and aware, and keep aware of like spatial distance between people. We meet a lot of wonderful people in the subway, but as you know, there are people down there that are having real problems, and that's part of, I think, what's happening
Subway
to us
people.
now is not your average mugger situation. It's a person that's maybe having mental health problems.
Deranged. People are deranged, and they take liberties, and you're on a tight little subway car, and sometimes people get a little nuts. Have you guys ever run into a crime in action?
You would be my
We actually,
dude, get out of here with that.
a few weeks ago, we were coming home. We were by 42nd Street, and we found someone who had a knife on them, and we were alerted by the
I'm about forks, you know that.
passengers, and the cops actually came down and released the guy. They didn't even check his backpack, so that's part of the problem.
Do people get handsy on the subway? Is that something you guys have to deal with?
Jesse, are you speaking from experience, bro? Do people get handsy on the subway? I'm thinking about going down there myself. Haven't felt any hands in a while, if you know what I mean. It's a clown world, it really is. Honestly, I get so many comments of people saying like, this is not something to joke about, but I'm like, if you're not laughing, you're crying. Straight up.
I mean, we hear about it from other people because we spend a lot of our time talking to people that are in the subway, and they often tell us what's been going on. people, when they see us, they kind of back off a little bit. No one's going to get handsy with us per se, but we're listening to people's stories. And I think that's the most important thing.
And also alerting them to who it is that's actually doing these crimes, because sadly, the recidivism rate is tremendous. It's not like 2 or 3 times, it's like 50 or 60 times. So if you allow people to see the faces of these individuals, then they can actually prepare themselves a little better. They're probably going to see them on the same exact train all the time.
So you warn them that Andrew Cuomo might be taking the subway and might be a little feely.
Or Jesse Waters.
When he's in town. All right, well, listen, thank you so much for doing what you're doing. Everybody is grateful, and we need all the help we can get, and we really appreciate it.
And anyone that wants to help us, come along with us on patrol.
Problem, reaction, solution here. Ease up on the crime, create problem. Crime goes up, desired reaction, swoop in with bigger government solution. Exactly. So much of our problems are created by government, and they're like, well, now that we have this problem, we'll be your solution now too. And now you can rely on us even more for your life and you're like, wait a minute, aren't you the one that created this problem? They're like, it doesn't matter anymore. There's a problem and you need a solution, and we're here to give you that solution. It's freaking insane, dude. Speaking of insane. This woman is a freaking menace. She needs to be stopped at all costs.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, America.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, America.
Oh, she needs to be stopped at all costs. I was dying. Is this the Foothills comment? All right, I'm going to go on to my next. I haven't even got into like my YouTube stuff. Did you guys see that Will Smith is banned from the Oscars for 10 years?
During the awards ceremony nearly 2 weeks ago, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announced the decision after a meeting today. In a statement, Academy leaders say Smith will not be able to attend any events.
Who cares? Honestly, who cares? I did see that video of Will Smith talking, and it was like the most depressing thing ever. I can't stand Jimmy Kimmel, but I'm here to listen to. He's got some words for Marjorie Taylor Greene, which I want to hear the intro of it. So Marjorie Taylor Greene put out like a comment about it, saying that he is attacking her or, going after her, and she wasn't happy about it. And I couldn't tell if it was a joke or not. And so now this is his response. I don't watch this show. And I assume you don't either. You're a human being.
Millions and millions of co-workers in America quietly resent the winner of their March Madness office pool. We forgot to even do one this year, which I think makes us all winners. We didn't lose $10, but did you watch that game last night, Guillermo?
Yes, Jimmy, it was a great game.
You enjoyed it?
Yes, I did.
The Kansas Jayhawks came back.
Okay, I don't know. She won. What is this?
I want to know who you think will win the NBA Finals this year.
All right.
The 7th.
I don't care. I don't care about Jimmy Fallon. If you guys want to make a bunch of money too, there is truck drivers needed.
U.S. is offering new truck drivers a 6-figure salary.
Six figures to be a truck driver.
Shortage continues. Walmart has now announced it's increasing trucker salaries to earning as much as $110,000 in their first year.
$100,000 to be a truck driver.
From the average long-haul driver salary that starts around $56,000.
I'm going to be a truck driver from now on.
The Georgia Motor Trucking Association says Walmart's decision here will create a domino effect in the trucking industry.
It also has an influence on the entire trucking industry because people have to compete with Walmart for those quality drivers. So the old saying, a rising tide lifts all boats, this is good for the trucking industry overall.
That's crazy.
Walmart joins supply chain giant Cisco in advertising drivers could earn as much as $110,000 a year.
That's nuts. Are you guys going to become truckers now? I'm going to become a trucker now. Also, some exciting news about Twitter.
In today's Tech Bites, getting out of unwanted Twitter conversations. Twitter is testing out a new feature called unmentioning. Users can click on the Leave This Conversation option that will untag your username, stop future mentions, and stop notifications. Google just rolled out a new feature that lets you search using text.
That is so corny. So if you're like getting owned in a conversation, you can all of a sudden take yourself out. God.
On the Leave This Conversation option that will untag your username,
Take me
stop
off.
future mentions, and stop notifications. Google just rolled out a new feature that lets you search using text and images at the same time. The multi-search option is accessible through Google Lens on the app. It's designed to make it easier to refine searches and pinpoint the right item down to the color. Finally, with the Masters underway, Tag Heuer has introduced its new golf-oriented smartwatch. It features maps that show hazards and distances on over 40,000 golf courses worldwide. More simply, its strap mimics a golf ball's dimples. The price, over $2,600. Those are your Tech Bites.
Oh
Have a
my
great day.
God. Who has that kind of money? Not me. All right, let's... What else do I have? Okay, there's the trans... I don't care about this. Will Smith's. Oh, here's the
total shutout. Two other men, Caleb
This is what I talked
Franks
about at
and
the
Ty
beginning.
Garbin, earlier pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges. Tonight, Governor Whitmer's office says the plot to kidnap her was the result of violent political rhetoric that has become all too common. Lester?
Pete Williams, thank you. The two men accused of impersonating federal agents and lavishing gifts.
Oh, we already talked about that. That was such a weird...
Told her that I felt such a deep sense of pride and joy. And I will tell you, her braids are just a little longer than yours. But as I wrote to her, I told her what I knew this would mean for her life and all that she has in terms of potential.
For President
Oh my
Biden,
God.
a campaign promise fulfilled.
Could you imagine, like, Kamala Harris giving you words of encouragement and you have to live by that? You're like, the vice president once said, I told her, and then I told her, and then I told her.
Black women.
Jackson listening, beaming, and wiping away tears.
You are the
Fake.
very definition of what we Irish refer to as dignity. You have enormous dignity. And it communicates to people. It's contagious. And it matters. It matters a lot.
$10, there's going to be a Disney documentary about her in about 5 days. Mark my words.
Appointments for a black woman to
Wait, how
be
do you know?
selected to
All right. We got to go to some decent clips worth watching and worth mentioning. What's this? Can Biden define Irish? What did you say? I might be dumb, but I'm not. What did you say? Something dumb but not Irish?
Whether or not they fit the categories.
So for the record, you favor HHS's funding being able for sex reassignment for surgeries on minors.
I will do everything I can to defend any American, including children, whether or not they fit the categories you have mentioned or not. And if they talk about gender affirming care, I am there to protect the rights of any American.
So for the
Even if they're completely underage, you can do whatever you want. Because it's protection if you do whatever you want. Jeez. We're all just living in a crazy world. But I'm here. Let's just stick with the topic of trans. I think this, let's first, go to Disney. This is a video I found about Disney. Let's peep that junk.
Disney. A staple of pretty much everyone's childhood. With legacy stretching back to 1923, they've been producing content since your grandparents were first watching movies, since basically anyone was first watching movies. And in the century they've been around, they've created an empire, bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars in revenue, from theme parks to movies, TV shows, toy figures, brand deals, and retail goods. Disney's in pretty much everything. You'd be hard-pressed to find a person on planet Earth who doesn't recognize Mickey Mouse. If you're a parent, there's a good chance you've turned to Disney for your kids' entertainment over the years. After all, the company prides itself on being the largest family-centric media company in the world. So as a parent, you'd think that Disney would do their due diligence to make sure that their shows are safe and suitable for children of all ages to watch. At least that's the idea. While that may have been the case for the last few decades, quite a bit has changed these days. The new Disney has a new agenda, and it's one they're pretty open about. They want to indoctrinate young kids with their leftist gender and LGBT ideology. They certainly used to make family-friendly films. Classics like Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, one of my personal favorites, and Peter Pan have remained popular for decades. Even some of their new...
That guy's personal favorite is Beauty and the Beast.
Newer movies like Toy Story, Lion King, Lilo and Stitch, they were all hits with audiences and considered fantastic family movies. But it's clear that Disney has little intention of making movies like that anymore. Progressivism, wokeism, leftism, call it whatever you want. It's
Dude, Be Our Guest might be one of the best Disney songs ever. That is a great song. No shame.
For Disney. A few weeks ago, after the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, announced the parental rights and education bill, the left was quick to retaliate. And so too was Disney. The company released a statement announcing the new law, referring to it in the same dishonest way the media has, as the so.
But I can't say that. I think Toy Story is better. I don't know. I feel like Disney is one of those companies that, like, if I say what the best movie is this, then I just go look up some of the older movies and I'm like, oh yeah, that movie is awesome too.
So-called Don't Say Gay bill. The bill, by the way, doesn't actually say the word gay. In the statement, Disney declared the bill should never have been signed into effect and that they would take action to ensure that it would be repealed. Because if there's one thing family entertainment companies should be doing, it's defending the right of teachers to talk to 5-year-olds about sex. Disney CEO Bob Chapek expressed his own, quote, disappointment and concern and met with Governor DeSantis in an attempt to change his mind. Spoiler alert on that front, he failed. Some Disney employees were so upset and shaken by the bill that they staged a walkout.
Outside the iconic Walt Disney Studios in Burbank,
Oh my God, there's like tens of people out there.
California. Say gay! Say gay!
Powerful stuff from Disney employees. And Disney isn't keeping their leftist politics to Twitter either. It's now engulfing their entire brand. There are countless examples too. Last June, for example, they hosted a Pride Parade concert on their streaming channel featuring Kermit the Frog along with a drag queen. Kermit even sang a song titled Rainbow Connection before declaring Happy Pride Month. And a show called Rise Up, Sing Out on Disney Junior, that's Disney's channel for toddlers, featured an episode which talks about the dangers of microaggressions in the classroom and how to avoid racist conversations with presumably other toddlers. And in May of last year, Disney announced a reboot of the fan favorite show Proud Family. But this time it would feature a racial activist high schooler with, you guessed it, 2 gay dads.
No. Meet my husband. Hey, big fella.
Because if there's one thing we know, it's that if your kids' shows aren't full of woke social justice warriors, how will your viewers know where you stand on these important issues? And then this past month, after Governor DeSantis announced his parental rights bill, Disney retaliated by announcing they'd be including a scene in the new Buzz Lightyear film that would feature 2 lesbian women kissing. This was specifically in response to the bill, so not only did...
Thank God. I love when they just like throw stuff in movies, or like, instead of making it like the movie, which I find to be okay. If that's your, like, if it goes in line with the story, then I make the choice whether I want to watch it or not, or I want to support it or not. That's one thing. But it's like when they just like throw in crap that has nothing to do with the story just to appease people and to push whatever agenda they believe. It's just so... That's why people don't like their movies anymore, more than anything. It's just like, it doesn't even make any sense anymore. We're just like throwing crap together. It's like a buffet. It's like, put a little bit of here, a little bit there, and I put a little bit there.
Did Disney oppose the law? They retaliated against it. Those are 2 distinct but important differences. That kissing scene appeared to be specifically in response to the bill. Disney's made it abundantly clear that if Republicans...
Disney's going to make a movie where DeSantis makes out with Trump.
try to protect the rights of children, they'll fight back with more woke content. But this is only what Disney shows to the public. What happens behind closed doors is apparently, as we now know, much worse. Chris Rufo, investigative journalist and researcher, exposed internal documents.
You forgot white supremacist?
Documents and videos that were circulated among Disney employees just this past month, detailing the quite literal, quote, gay agenda that Disney has for children. I say quite literal because they're now very open about that.
Our leadership over there has been so welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda.
Rufo had previously published an expose that detailed Disney's implementation of critical race theory in their media, as well as the company's shaming of it.
This background music is starting to really annoy the crap out of me. I don't know about you guys online, but I'm like, all right, time to cut it out.
White employees and
it's too long of a video for this long of music in the background.
His new expose shows Disney in an even worse light.
I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness to if you see anything queer in the show, I'm proud of them. But I just was no one would stop me.
The videos are shot.
It's it has nothing to do with the story, and I just threw it in there. What the fuck is Cajun? You're watching it unfold, killer.
Shocking, but at this point, shouldn't be all that surprising. One shows a Disney executive saying she wants to see a minimum of 50% of future Disney characters be LGBT or racial minority. Another video shows the Disney diversity and inclusion manager proudly stating that Disney had.
I love they have a what was that? Diversion and inclusion officer. It's just like the CCP and their officers they have. They're like, you better follow the rules of what's going on in the land. Think rightly, or else we'll pull your federal funding.
LGBT or racial minority. Another video shows the Disney diversity and inclusion manager proudly stating that Disney had removed all mentions of the word ladies, gentlemen, boy, and girl from its theme parks to cater to trans Disney.
Thank God.
We no longer say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We say dreamers of all ages.
Of which I'm sure there are dozens.
God, that's so corporate.
There are dozens of us. Dozens!
Yet another video features a Disney exec claiming that Ron DeSantis is trying to erase and criminalize LGBT people. But that's not all. It was also discovered that Disney's had a massive problem with child sex predators at their theme parks for years. Not just attendees at the parks, but employees.
Okay, this part of the story, I've seen a lot of stories going around talking about Disney employees and being pedophiles and being arrested. And I think this is true, but also it's very true about a lot of professions that deal with the kids. There's teachers, there's, Catholic church. There's a lot of different professions, Christian churches, any profession that where adults teach children, you just have to be careful and very careful. And it happens too much. That's it's very sad and should be taken very seriously, but it's kind of like a talking point, and maybe there's some honest, there is some connection, but I think it's just maybe icing on the cake more than a real root story. But you can kind of understand why too. It's if you are that kind of sick, twisted individual, you're going to want to work in that environment to begin with. So,
working at the parks. Sting operations have led to the arrests of multiple Disney park employees, and at least one case included a predator who was a Disney cast member. These are oftentimes employees dressed as Disney characters or mascots and taking pictures throughout the park with small children. There have been a number of sex crimes against children on Disney cruises as well. In one case, a Disney cruise employee was ordered to keep her mouth shut after a child reported to her that she'd been molested by another employee on board the Disney cruise. Following Rufo's expose, Abigail Disney, the great niece of Walt Disney and heiress to the company, called Rufo a little punk, and granted that those against Disney were simply radical ideologues, racists, and bigots who were trying to destroy the, quote, authenticity, generosity, joy, and decency of Disney. Because clearly Disney cares deeply about protecting the decency of their brand and
have they always been decent? I don't know. I don't think so. I remember growing up, even Aladdin, that all you teenagers take off your clothes, that little part right where Aladdin falls on the magic carpet and goes away, and you can hear it on the VHS. And I heard it for myself later on in life, because I didn't even hear it. Or in The Lion King, where the sex is in the clouds and stuff like, or have they always been just decent company?
Decency of children. You might think with as much corruption as there is inside Disney, the media would jump to report every new sadistic story that comes from the company. After all, if there's one thing the legacy media loves to hate, it's evil corporations, right? But no, in this case, the anger of many of those outlets hasn't been directed at the billion-dollar corporation, often pushing sexual conversations on toddlers, but instead at the Republican.
Oh, killer! It just kind of hit me. The gay agenda it's more queer theory. Look up queer theory and study as much as you possibly can, because it's important to know. Queer theory is in just about every, especially in education these days, and understand that, because it's not necessarily gay. It's more queer. It's more it's like non-binary. It's more gender. It's more fluid, more whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, than it is like, gay or lesbian. They expand it. They want to create as much instability as possible.
Calling out that agenda. In their words, Disney's opponents are repulsive, full of hysteria. They say the pushback against Disney.
I think that Disney has their own court system. Yes, that is freaking wild.
Will somehow increase violence against the LGBT community. Other outlets see the right's reaction as authoritarian.
That's like a really beautiful shot. That's like that's like just a really good shot. I love photography. I'm sorry.
Disney will somehow increase violence against the LGBT community. Other outlets see the right's reaction as authoritarian and say that companies like Disney are simply protecting children, not harming them. The Daily Wire has seen through it all, though, and we're fighting back. Last week, all
right, they're just going into their cartoons, which we all mocked and made fun of. Okay. You guys choose in my chat, whoever chooses first. Do you want to watch a segment on trans people being killed? Or do you want to watch a segment on why low-income neighborhoods have fewer trees? It's up to you. You choose. First one, trees or trans? They both start with a T. Take your time. Doom, 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 boom, boom. Trees. Trees. Perfect. Dull saying. Here we go. God, everything is racism. Oh my God, that was incredible. Oh, these people just can't quit. What do you mean, these people? I mean, people on the Daily Show. She just assumed that black neighborhoods have marijuana trees. Oh my God, that's racist. I feel like I'm getting dumber as I listen to this argument. This is a show with multiple writers, and they're paid more money than I'll ever make to produce this, with a background, and I'm sure she has things in front of her telling her what to say before she says it. My show has 0 writers, 0, and I produce it, and I come up with all the information. This is literally insane. This is why I don't call them the mainstream anymore. Well, that settles it. Trees are racist. I know. She's not done, DEFCON. Oh my God. Oh, that's like the most depressing news segment I've ever seen in my life. What was that? What? That was their serious segment that needs to be taken seriously? I'm so glad we watched that though. I feel so much better. The pervs thing was my favorite. Newt Gingrich went off on Kamala Harris, apparently.
The elite are embarrassed. And I think they're more embarrassed by Joe Biden's presidency than they were by Donald Trump, and I'll explain why, and you can...
I don't want to hear
They were in
you.
the center. He was talking about not only Trump, but D.C. and the
I want to hear
people
Newt
in
go off.
DC and the reporters and the publishers and the antagonists, and there was a lot of drama, and they were right there. And they love that, and they love that kind of attention. Joe's giving them nothing.
He's like Sean Hannity, where he invites a guest on and he doesn't shut up. He just needs to ask a question.
And I think they're almost feeling like, you know what? Maybe it might be more fun to have a Republican in the White House for maybe just 4 years, just so we can get a little friction going, right?
Well, it's a little bit like having Rip Van Winkle as president. You sort of think he's probably asleep most of the time. You assume that somebody like Klein is actually, or Klein, however they pronounce it, is actually in charge, if anybody's in charge. You watch the embarrassment of people like Buttigieg, who totally misunderstands his role in America.
Amen.
This is a weird administration.
So weird.
And I think you're right. I'm not going to ever say you're an idiot, but I have said on behalf, I think that Kamala Harris is probably the dumbest person ever elected to the vice presidency.
That's hate speech. I'm going to go out and plant some trees. That's it. All right, DEFCON, I appreciate you for hanging out with me, brother. Hope you have a good night. Enjoy your Friday. Hope you enjoy your weekend. Share this with all your friends and family. Tell them about the Derek O'Shea show. I appreciate you for hanging out with me the whole night and riding with me. It means a lot to me, brother. Have a good night and enjoy your weekend. Find a way to enjoy your weekend. Find a way not to allow the insanity to take away from some of the fun that you can have in your life. I'm going to end with a commercial break. And then I'll check you later, but take it easy later, man. You have a good weekend, too. Bye-bye. My fellow Americhans, it's me, Joe Byron. Make sure to support Derek O'Shea by going to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea. Easily one of my least favorite YouTubers of all time. And all you have to do is go down here, buy him a coffee, support his show, or even join as a member. $3 a month. That's all it costs, and you could be a big-time supporter of his show. He's a good guy, but he's a piece of crap, and I hate him for that. I hope you have a great day, and as always, let's go get ice cream, and I need to get my sniff on.